Hi, everyone. I am Simon T. Bailey, and I have to admit, I am a student of Dr. Gene Watson, who's the founder of Watson Caring Science Institute. Dr. Watson, how are you?
I'm lovely, and I'm even better now that you're here.
Oh, thank you so much. How did you get involved with this whole field of caring science, which is your life's work? It's a calling. Can you give us a little of the backstory?
Yes, well, when I entered nursing, I realized that it was perceived to be very demeaning, and it was not something that was really highly valued. And I was so disappointed that even in my education, I was oriented toward tasks and skills and procedures and medical diagnosis, etc., in contrast to the humans that I was involved in taking care of, and which I loved and I cherished and learned so much from the patients. And yet there was nothing in my education that really advanced that. And so as I continued to have my own educational development in psych nursing and in nursing in my PhD in philosophy, I began to have language to capture something I already knew. When I was exposed to the first time I got exposed to the word phenomenology, I thought I had died and gone to heaven because it gave me a language for a phenomenon that I already knew. And so it's that kind of awakening of finding language to give voice and language and informed action to something that is core to our humanity. So my very first book was written as I was there at the University of Colorado as a new faculty, witnessing the evolution of nursing under medical science, asking questions. Why are we here in an academic health science center if we don't have our own model of science with a meaningful philosophical, ethical foundation, which medicine science did not offer? So that was the origin and the motivation for my first book, because I was considering leaving nursing. But when I got started in writing this book to give voice to what I was trying to explain, and when even with their faculty, I realized I was asking myself new questions. Is there anything core to nursing that transcends time and space and setting and ages? Is there anything essentially core that is what we're about in terms of our humanity? And that's where I came up at that time with 10 caritive factors that I thought were transcendent of all these medical issues. It has had to do with human-to-human caring connection. And from that, as my work evolved, I had my own journey where I lost an eye and had to do my own healing journey. So from that, I kind of got a new awakening. And I transposed those caritive factors to the 10 Caritas processes, bringing love back into our life and our world, using the word caritas very intentionally to from the Latin origin of caritas to really give a deeper meaning of caring. It's not just a superficial little nice way of being, but it gives a very ethical, philosophical value foundation for what this phenomenon of human caring is about. So that's how I came with the 10 Caritas processes. And then as I have evolved in realizing those Caritas processes didn't fit the Western model of science. They informed it, but they're ad hoc to Western science, because Western science deals with a separatist worldview. It deals with empirics. It doesn't deal with the fullness of our humanity. It doesn't allow for expanded methodologies of phenomenology and the phenomena of our humanity and all the vicissitudes of our human existence. And it doesn't allow for the fullness of our practice. It reduces our practice down to techniques and skills. So from that evolution of my consciousness, I moved to understanding a different model of science, which is this unitary caring science. And of course, the worldview shifts have accentuated this and affirmed that we're in a quantum universe. Everything is connected to everything else. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm giving voice and language. And I've studied with the works of Emmanuel Levinas through some colleagues at Oxford University and Cambridge and so forth that helped me understand his work because it's in French. But the two concepts that are most effective for the caring science that informs it are the ethic of face, that we cannot sustain our humanity until we have a face-to-face connection, and the ethic of belonging, that we all belong to this infinite field of universal love, the cosmic love that holds everything in the universe together and represents the sacred circle of life and death, and mystery and unknowns, and all those vicissitudes of our humanity as we evolve. And when we have these practices of compassion in our heart center and move from our heart up to this higher vibration, we access, what Teilhard de Chardin talks about, the omega point. You get closer to God consciousness, you get closer to love, universal love. So if we can cultivate those micro practices of heart-centered love that radiates out into this infinite field of universal love, then we wake up and we realize that we're all connected. So then we have to be really careful how we're present to ourselves and each other, how we practice forgiveness, how we practice loving kindness, how we practice equanimity, non-judgmental, allowing for something new to happen in the midst of our existence, in the midst of our evolution of humanity. And this radiates out. It starts with self-caring, radiates out to the universe. Certainly eco-caring is a big issue right now. So it's a broader model of understanding. It's a cosmology of love. It brings in metaphysics and science together. And it's a new awakening for humanity is what we're embarking on at this time. We're invited into.
Wow. Dr. Watson, there is so much happening in the world right now. I won't go through the litany and list out for you, but you are well aware of some of the challenges on our planet right now. How does caring science enter into the conversation? And the second part of the question, something that you talk about a lot, is the need of the feminine energy to really begin to impact the planet. So I would love for you just to expound and share.
Thank you for that. Well, yes, the feminine energy is needed to balance and complement the masculine energy. It's like the yin and the yang. All of us have yang energy as women, and all men have some yin energy, but we are out of balance. Our systems are out of balance. And this is interesting, that no human being can heal with yang energy alone. And that's powerful to think about.
Wow.
So if you don't have caring and healing and nurturing and love, you might be cured, but you're not going to be healed. And it relates to both person as well as relationships. So this too is part of the rebalancing of the field, because one of the reasons that we have so many problems in society right now is because we've had this dominant masculine, I don't mean men, but that heavy dominant energy of control, of domination, of fear, of ego, of control, of greed. All of that is dominating our worldview right now at all levels. And now how can, in war and violence is perpetuated with this world of wanting to make everything in mine through this very fear and ego control. When you move into the feminine energy, you move into the heart. And it's just an interesting metaphor. I was just reading recently about even in a meditation place that you might be in, just letting your mind go up into your head to relax you as a meditation, but feel the structure of your skull is the heart. Moving into the head is kind of a heart, even though you're vibrating a higher energy, you still have the skull. But when you drop into your heart and just really visualize your heart, the softness of the membrane of the heart, the tenderness and the gentleness that you have to pay attention to, in contrast to being in your head, is really an imagery to remind us of the feminine, and the heart and the head are metaphors.
Wow.
For the domination, the ego, the control, versus love, peace, caring, forgiveness. The very source of our humanity is in our heart. So the future has got to be heart-centered humans, not head-centered humans. And that's true for leaders, that's true for healthcare, that's for healing, that's for survival of our planet, for survival of the awakening of the shared humanity and the shared planet Earth.
So good. Dr. Watson, how can people follow you and find out more about you?
WatsonCaringScience.org. We're a nonprofit organization, and we're here to serve humanity and organizations as well as healthcare systems in particular, and nurses in particular. And anyone can reach me personally at Jean, Jean, at WatsonCaringScience.org.
Awesome. Dr. Watson, thank you so much for being with us today. Everyone, go and follow her. Log on to Watson Caring Science. You will find so many tips, tools, and techniques that can really help you transform your system wherever you are right now today. Thank you so much, Dr. Watson.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you, Simon.